Hey guys, welcome back. If you've been watching my mini business series, good on you for making it this far. You must be so sick of my face. And if you've just tuned in, hi, I'm Jane Lu. I'm the founder and CEO of Showpo. So this is part two of a series of business videos. And this one, I'm talking about how I grew Showpo from its startup stage to a business that now makes $30 million a year. And so just quickly, part one, I talk about my first business that failed and the lessons that I learned from it. Part two, I talk about how I grew this business, Showpo, with no money at all. And part three, I talk about some of the major obstacles that I faced in our startup stage. And if you have any questions or any topics that you want me to discuss, pop it in the comments below and I will definitely get to it. So let me jump back into the timeline to January 2012 where I bought out my business partner because I think this is kind of like the rebirth of Showpo. So I set up a little office in my parents' garage and this is where the growth spurt started. But the garage itself was really dark and dingy and my parents hoarded everything. This is where the magic happened. Look at those shelves. Why do you think we have those shelves? All these leftover shelves of crap used to be for Showpo. So there was no phone reception in the garage downstairs, so I had to run upstairs every time to take a call. Hello? And I was the only customer service officer. I mean, I can't even believe I worked out of there for that long, which was around 5 months. So when I first moved into the garage, we were on 2 orders a day, and this quickly grew to 100 orders. We were growing so fast, and I was doing everything by myself, and definitely waited way too long before hiring someone and putting in proper systems and processes. I mean, I remember getting my mum to chuck a sickie so that she could stay home and help me fill out orders, only to realize that she was writing with broken English and that we had to rewrite a bunch of the thank you notes anyway.
My pleasure.
So my reluctance to hire was because I thought it would be cheaper and faster to do it by myself. Cheaper because I was like so used to being so povo for so long, and I thought that I could save money by doing it myself. And I definitely didn't factor in my opportunity cost, which I do think a lot of startup founders do make the mistake of not recognizing quick enough, which is exactly what I did. And I thought it'd be faster because I didn't put a value in creating systems and training staff to help grow the business. I thought that it would be much faster to just do it by myself than to take time to find someone and train them. And you always fear the worst. What if they stuff it up? So I was definitely burning myself out. I mean, if I thought I was doing a lot before, well, this is next level. Go girl, go girl, go girl. I mean, I was doing all the customer service. I was picking and packing all the orders, buying all the stock and doing the inventory management, doing photo shoots and uploading products to the website, the paid advertising, social media, and also managing the city store and doing the accounting and probably a bunch of things I'm not remembering right now. But, I mean, I don't even know how I did it. But then again, I didn't really like sleeping. So anyway, you probably couldn't guess what actually gave me the final nudge to hiring someone. So a few months ago, before I bought out my business partner, before I knew I was even going to, and before the business took off, I booked a trip with some friends to go to Miami for Ultra Music Festival. Now, this is pretty reckless given the situation that I was in, but it was 2 years into business and I was just kind of sick of it all. I just needed a break and I had credit cards. So little did I know that this would change everything. So I asked one of the girls who was working in the city store to come into my parents' dingy little garage and work out of there, quickly put together some systems and processes and canned responses, and then off I went to Miami and New York. So when I came back, I realized I learned a very valuable lesson. And also, I guess it was the start of this whole lazy CEO persona. But when I came back, I realized that although, things weren't perfect and it wasn't 100% the way I would have done it, nothing broke, sales still grew month on month, and I had come back to a business that had a structure that allowed for growth, that allowed me to work on the business rather than in the business. And so I guess you could say that raving to bloody Beatrice was a major pivotal moment in Showpo's growth journey. So I also had this newfound confidence in the growth of the business when I came back from the trip, and so thought it was time to take it to the next level, which was getting a proper office, which was so exciting. So we found this big office in the middle of the CBD, and it was huge and super affordable. There was so much space, and I thought I could never fill it up, that I bought the biggest and ugliest piece of furniture that I could find. So then along came Durka, our general manager and second in charge, that kicked off the next growth phase for Showpo. So when I first met Durga, it was far from love at first sight. I mean, I thought she was a bit cold and unfriendly when I first met her at this St. Patrick's Day party. And then we were invited to this mutual friend's holiday house in Palm Beach for his birthday. And it was a new group of friends, so I thought that I would just write in the Facebook event asking if anyone wanted a lift. Much to my despair, only Durga replied saying that she would. So this is like a 2-hour drive in traffic, and I didn't want to be stuck in a car with her because it'll be super boring and awkward. So much so that I actually got another friend invited to this party just so he could be in the car to break up the awkwardness. So when we actually all got in the car, Durga and I massively bonded. We didn't stop talking the whole time, so much so that my friend, the tag-along, actually fell asleep in the car because Durga and I were just so in our own little world. How Durga actually got hired was quite unorthodox as well.
I quit my job right now and I work for you.
So she invited me out to lunch to ask me for advice, and so we went to a food court and got laksa, and then she said, Jane, you know a lot of people. I'm looking for a role as an ops manager in a startup. Do you know anyone? And so to this day, we still debate about whether she was fishing for a job. But regardless, it was fate, because I literally a couple of weeks before this was thinking about the fact that I needed an ops manager, but had no idea where and how to hire someone that would be such an important part of the business. So when Durga started back then, things were different to the way they are now. I mean, we got along well, but we didn't hang out outside of work, and now we take holidays together and see each other pretty much every weekend. We didn't take lunch together back then. We have lunch every day now. And so I think we just didn't get each other the way we do now. A few months into it, things were getting a bit tense between Durga and I, and one day after work, she texted me to say that she wanted to talk. I thought for sure she was going to quit. Not if I fire her first, though.
Nah, yo, hold my poodle. Hold my poodle.
Anyway, so I drove over there, and she greeted me with, I'm not even kidding, a 2-page list of the issues that she had with me. I knew she wasn't happy, but I wasn't expecting that. And it was weird because ordinarily I thought someone as hot-headed as me would have just argued back with her and stormed out of there, especially when I was already going in with this fire that bitch mentality. Anyway, I think it was because what she was saying was so heartfelt, and ultimately I didn't like hearing it because I knew so much of it was true. So the things that she was saying was not only very eye-opening in itself, but the whole thing, I guess, made me realize how important it is to confront those hard truths, because that's what's going to help you grow as a person. And so for our friendship, I mean, well, the proof is in the pudding because we've been inseparable ever since. So anyway, with our love rekindled, we were working together better than ever, and we soon outgrew our office. We had a 2-year lease, but within a year, we ran out of space. We had stock everywhere. We didn't even have proper systems to track it. We just had to remember where everything was, and it was just literally everywhere. I mean, for example, the San Jose dress will be kept under my desk. That was just its official spot. And the undercover dress will be kept in the kitchenette. I mean, it was chaos. But we got by, and soon enough, in August 2013, we moved to our warehouse in Ultimo. It was huge. It was 1,000 square meters. The warehouse was some of the highlights of Showpo for me. I mean, we had this massive warehouse team, and we were such a close unit. I remember when we had our first $1 million month, it was only 4 of us working in the office. It was me, Durga, Olivia, who's now our senior buyer, and Brittany, who we love and we're still great friends with, but she's left to pursue her dreams of becoming a sommelier. Not a bad career change, to be fair. People used to warn me not to get close to employees, and I ignorantly just ignored all those warnings, and you know what? I'm so glad I did. Not only did the 4 of us kick some major goals, I mean, we got to, with 4 people, $1 million a month, but we also had so much fun doing it. The $1 million a month was a major milestone for us, and whilst we worked hard on all facets of the business, the main driver was nailing Facebook marketing. Back then, you could get ads for as little as 10 cents a click, which is like a license to print money, which meant that we could scale up the business really quickly. And of course, we had this amazing warehouse team. I think we had almost 30 people, and we just had the best time working together, and the parties we used to have, amazing. So that brings me to the next major business change, and it was the first time I had to say to myself, Business is business. You can't let emotions make the decision for you. You have to do what's right for the business. Durka and I made the decision to outsource our warehousing function to a third-party logistics company. Moving to a third-party logistics company is a whole other story in itself, which I'll save for another time. But the hardest part was having to make our warehouse team redundant. It was probably one of the hardest things I had to do. I mean, our warehouse team understood why we needed to do what we did, and we maintained great relationships and friendships. And some of them even got hired by the third-party logistics company, but that doesn't make the whole situation any less shitty. So once we started working with the 3PL, we moved into an office, and so this is us on moving day. Durka is sleeping, and this, mind you, was at the start of the day. And also, here's a fort that we built with all the empty boxes from the warehouse on moving day. I just wanted to slip that in somewhere. You may enter. This is MTV Cribs for Showpo. We moved into the rag trade district of Sydney, which was frequented by competitors. So initially I thought that it would be great to be closer to some of our suppliers, but actually it was pretty terrible. It changed me to this person that became obsessed with looking at what our competitors were doing. I subscribed to their newsletters, I started following them on social, and I put this unnecessary pressure on my team to keep up with the Joneses. Funnily enough, this was the worst year we ever had. I mean, it was the only year where we didn't really grow. Through this time, I had lost sight of the vision that I had for Showpo. I lost confidence in my own judgment and my team's. And how could I be a great leader when I was just so busy chasing what other people were doing? Now with hindsight, I realize how stupid this all was. Not only does it mean that our creative outputs are not consistent, but it also distracts us from making our own path and forging our own identity, but also following others has an opportunity cost because it derails us from achieving our own strategic goals, and it's no way to inspire a team. So that was definitely the best lesson that I learned from 2014. So the main thing that I learned from 2015 was to not put all our eggs in the one basket. Now I know that sounds obvious, but we kind of did with Facebook. And as I said before, it was one of the main drivers of our success. Some weeks we had over 100% engagement, while most online stores, especially the big ones in our industry, were sitting under 10%. So when Facebook changed their algorithm, the change was that organic posts would no longer be shown to all of your followers, but rather only like 10% of them, and you had to pay to reach the rest of them, which drove up the price of advertising. And there was this huge outcry from the business community, especially from those companies that paid to get followers. We were quite lucky because we only ever paid to send traffic to our website, and followers growth was secondary. But still, this really shook us and taught us not to ever rely too heavily on the one marketing channel. So since then, we started growing our Instagram account, and I know Instagram is owned by Facebook, but still, it's also why we've always had a strong focus on PR, and also started growing our YouTube channel for Showpo, and also my vlog, which is why I'm here today, talking to myself. But we also have heaps of other exciting things in the pipeline, and also, expanding our marketing channels has been part of what's really been fueling our growth in the last few years. Funny story though, I said during the interview that Facebook was dead, and it became the headline for this newspaper article, and I definitely spoke too soon and was wrong, because now we have over 1 million followers on Facebook. We have just reached 100,000 followers on Facebook! Give it up! We have over 50% engagement, which is still pretty good. And since we were an early adopter of Facebook videos, it's really still very much alive and kicking for us. In 2016, our major change was in growing our team. This time last year, we had only 14 people in our team, and now we have over 40.
This is the greatest company in the world!
And so the main thing I've been learning over the last year is how to be a good manager and a good leader, but I've only scratched the surface and still have so much more to learn. So, having learned my lesson from this whole Facebook headline incident, I'm going to wait before speaking too soon about a topic I know too little about. So I will wrap it up and wait till I've experienced and learned a little bit more before I go into it. But If you do have any topics that you would like me to cover, I'd be more than happy to. So just pop it in the comments below and I'll do another video. So after spending the past few weeks writing this, yes, it's taking me a few weeks because I treated it like a school assignment and kept procrastinating. But during this time, I've been reflecting on my business journey so far and realized that the tough times hasn't been this all-nighters. It hasn't been any amount of physical labor or any one challenge in particular, but it's having the drive and resilience to push past the hard times, being able to back yourself, knockback after knockback, and being able to believe in yourself when you don't know if it's going to work out yet. And don't worry, I'm not leaving you with a final thought of believe in yourself. Look, I don't have any cool one-liners to wrap this up with because this isn't the book and I'm far from the end of my business journey, but I know that I would not have wanted it any other way. So if you're thinking about starting a business, then well, go do it because I could not imagine myself still being that accountant, stuck in that boring cubicle, hating my job every day. And if you're going through a tough time with your business right now, well, just remember that yes, business can be tough, but you know what? You are tougher.